Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is DVD Collector 1986 here with a new video. Today's kind of a random video. I'm going to talk about a couple of different things. Um, and the big thing is I'm going to tell you the story about how I started collecting movies. But before I get to that, I just want to say that um, I was born in the mid to late 80s. So I grew up when during the time when the whole home video thing was just starting. There's a few formats that I never owned. Um, Off the top of my head, I can think of like beta tape, laser disc, and obviously currently the most current format, which is the 4K Ultra HD, which I think is a waste of money. Blu-ray is more than sufficient enough. I think when you start getting into 4K resolutions, um, it's overkill in my book. But anyway, I grew up during that time when the home video thing was just starting, and my mom used to take me to a video rental store called Blockbuster. Some of y'all know um, what that is, and a lot of you probably watching this video, if you were born later, you may not know what Blockbuster is. But I basically, Blockbuster was my home away from home. Um, I think my mom would take me to go rent movies like, I would say every week, sometimes a couple of times a week. I mean, we were always renting movies. And this was when they just did VHS, VCR tapes. And I remember the the thing that really got me into movies, period, was I went to a friend's house when I was younger. I don't remember exactly how old. I was maybe somewhere between the ages of 9 and 12. Like I said, I don't remember exactly, but somewhere in there. And they said, "Are you a fan of horror films?" And I said, um, I'd kind of watched a few. My mom let me watch horror films at a very young age. So, so horror films, I loved horror films, but I'd only seen like one here or there, on TV. I didn't really own any VHS tapes yet. And so I went to my friend's house and I was like, he was like, do you like horror films? And I was like, heck yeah, man. And I spent the night and they were like, it was my friend and his sister, who was a couple of years older than both of us. And the three of us stayed up till like, I want to say like 4 o'clock in the morning. And we literally watched all of the Friday the 13th in a row. Part one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and then eight. And anyone who watches my channel knows that out of the Friday the 13th, part eight is my favorite. A lot of people don't like it, but I do. And I remember I had not seen Friday the 13th, part eight. Um, well, I think I'd seen bits and pieces of it on TV because it was the first one that I ever saw, and I think I watched it on TV, but I didn't actually watch the entire thing. It was like you catch a few minutes here, a few minutes there on TV, and so I actually sat down and got to watch the entire movie, and that's when I really fell in love with it. But my friends told me, Part 8 has the coolest soundtrack. It's not in Crystal Lake, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I watched all these movies and I really enjoyed them. And so then when I would go to Blockbuster, I would rent horror films. I mean, literally, that's all I ever rented from uh, Blockbuster. And um, I used to rent Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Halloween 6. Now, I had not seen the producer's cut of Halloween 6 yet at this point, but those are the three films that I would rent constantly on VHS. I mean, I'd go in there and I'd rent the same three movies over and over and over and over again. And for some reason, the Blockbuster that I went to, they only had like two copies of each of those three Halloween films. Usually they have more, but for some reason, the Blockbuster I was at only had a couple of copies of each movie. And so basically, those films were never there because I always rented them out. Um, and finally, my mom approached me one day and said, you know, she said, I did the math. And she said, the amount of money that we've spent for you to rent these movies over and over and over was quite a lot. She said, it'd be cheaper in the long run if you just bought your own copies of those three movies. So um, I went to a website, I believe it was cduniverse.com, which they sell music CDs. At that time, VHS, and then later they would sell DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. But at that time, they just sold CDs and VHS tapes because that was the in thing at the time. So I went and I don't know how much I paid for them, but the first three VHS tapes that I ever bought were Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. So I got those in the mail a few days later, and that, my friends, is what started me collecting because after that, I bought, um, not in this particular order, but I bought Predator, Aliens, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Eventually, I bought all the Friday the 13th, and VHS just has a nostalgic appeal to me. DVD and Blu-ray obviously are superior as far as like picture quality and sound quality and all that. But the thing about VHS that I still like, even though right now I own absolutely no VHS, is anyone that grew up with VHS remembers how much fun it was to look at the artwork on the cardboard um, slip covers. I'll call them slip covers that went over the VHS tapes. Um, Everybody remembers going to Blockbuster, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I remember I would rent movies just based on what the cover art looked like. And so, anyway, Halloween 4, 5, and 6 were the three movies that started me collecting movies of all genres. And then later I graduated to DVD and then later to Blu ray. I still buy DVD, but I lean more towards Blu ray. But I've collected VHS, DVD, and Blu rays. And um, my point in this video is the reason I'm telling you this story is because I don't know what it is, but I have gotten this overwhelming sense of nostalgia that's come over me lately, and I'm not gonna rebuy my entire movie collection on VHS, but what I am going to do is buy several VHS tapes. Just the horror films that I really like, in particular, the ones that I saw on VHS. The first time I ever saw these movies was on VHS. Those, like those three Halloween films, and like the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie and the Friday the 13th. I'm gonna start collecting just a few VHS here and there, just the ones that I grew up watching on VHS for the first time, the ones that really got me into horror, and that got me into collecting, that kind of thing. Like I said, I'm not gonna buy like hundreds of them, but just a few of the ones that I grew up with. Um, they're cheap, but sometimes they're not as cheap as you think. Some of them are kind of expensive, especially if you manage to find them brand new on eBay. They don't have to be new, but I'm going to try to get some good deals on a few VHS, and I'm also going to buy some VHS plastic protector, those clear sleeves that you put over the artwork so that it doesn't get dinged up. And obviously, I'm going to have to buy a VCR, one that's in good shape. So what I'm getting at is I am going to start buying VHS, but I'm strictly going to only buy horror films because those are the only ones I ever watched on VHS, and they just have, you have to adjust the tracking. Picture quality is not that great. Um, Sometimes the videos, when you watch them, they make kind of a humming sound at the beginning, but there's, like I said, there's a nostalgic appeal to them, and that's why I'm going to start buying VHS again. I'm still going to buy DVD and Blu-ray, obviously, but I'm going to buy VHS as well. Just horror films, though. And like I said, I Halloween 4, 5, and 6 were what really got me started with collecting movies. And I remember Halloween 4 and 5 in particular. I remember I had the old, well, they weren't old at that time, but it was the most current thing you could have at the time. The old CBS Fox video, the hi-fi VHS versions of Halloween 4 and 5. Those are the two in particular that I'm really trying to track down. And then the Blockbuster Presents version of the first Halloween, because I bought my first copy of the original Halloween from 1978. I bought that on VHS from Blockbuster, and it was the Blockbuster Presents release. So anyway, I'm going to start collecting those again. And yeah, it's kind of odd because it's kind of a dead format, but VHS isn't that dead. Um, I think one of the things that kind of got me to want to do this was I watched this documentary called Adjust Your Tracking, and it's all about people that in present day, that people that still collect VHS and why. And because of the nostalgic appeal that VHS has to me, that's why I'm going to try to start collecting them again, tracking them down one by one. And if I can get them in a lot, like all the Halloweens, you know, sold as a VHS lot on eBay or something, I'm going to look for deals, but I'm going to try to track down all the ones that I really, really want. And like I said, only horror films. So um, I hope that you guys that watch my videos will enjoy watching me go on this journey to do that. And obviously, I'm going to showcase the stuff that I buy. I'm going to show it off, um, you know, just like I do with DVD and Blu-ray updates, but I'm going to show off the artwork in particular. And when I get, specific ones, I'm going to talk about my memories watching them for the first time, and all that. I'm going to cover all that good stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy um, watching me go on this journey, going kind of retro, going back to VHS. Um, and like I said, I just hope you guys enjoy the videos. And anyway, I'm gonna try to buy some VHS tapes here when I get paid at the first of the month, which is only in a couple of days, and then we'll get started. So anyway, keep an eye out for some more update videos, and as always, Halloween is awesome. Love the Halloween franchise. And if it wasn't for the Halloween franchise, I probably wouldn't be a movie collector today. So I owe everything to, as far as being a movie collector, I owe everything to the Halloween franchise. And God bless Donald Pleasance.